Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all honor, glory, and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Raha Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace, blessings, and salutations to the hopefully elect. It's the brother Isaiah with the Pittsburgh GMS camp, coming at you with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Raha Kodash. Lord willing, this lesson is edifying. You know, and I just want to do a quick in transit, okay, basically going into, all right, no matter how we package the message, okay, if you are not a part of the elect, you won't receive the message. And you know, really, it goes for anything you want to speak about as far as understanding. You know, the Most High opens, you know, through Yahweh Shai, opens the understanding of men. The scriptures tell you that. Okay, the scriptures tell you that Yahweh Shai has the key to the understanding, man. He stand at the door and knocketh, and if any man open unto him, he will sup with him. All right. So, what's bringing this up? Okay, what's bringing this topic up? So I had a situation at work, dealing with this Jake, man. You know, he seemed like a pretty cool Jake, but he and bear with me, I'm in traffic, man. Morning commutes and in the city is always kind of, especially nowadays, man. But nevertheless, he seemed okay, but you know, of course, he smoked. I could smell it. You know, he would smoke cigarettes, and you know, other than that, he seemed cool. But we had a situation where, you know, he wasn't picking up on certain things, you know, kind of simple things. And whenever we would try to, you know, train him to be mindful of these things, he would not really get it. He wouldn't necessarily be, you know, a super nigga about it, but he wasn't getting it. All right. And so, you know, we had it where today we were both doing a job. You know, they was going to make us share a pallet, you know, a wooden, you know, a little job space. We was going to share a pallet with our jobs. And, you know, we both had similar jobs. It's really all through the spirit, man, you know. It was job, basically it was job 144 and 7. You know, it had the 144 on there. It really had it was the numbers was crazy. I was like, damn, I seen so many 44s today, or 144s and 44s today. I was just looking like, damn, I was just seeing 7s and 44s all day. So it just had me thinking, like, you know, what's going on? And so we ended up having a situation where we had parts that we get parts from the warehouse for different jobs, all right? And we put them together, and then people take them, and then they do their job, and then, you know, we move on to the next job. You know, it's kind of like, almost like grocery shopping, but I do it for a warehouse. You know, they got Instacart where you shop for people. Well, it's like I do that in the warehouse. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm getting the parts, and I'm looking at the parts, and it's only one in the whole warehouse. It was only one part for my job in the whole warehouse. And there was only one part for his job in the whole warehouse. And they was on the same row, right? And the numbers was off by one number. His had a 0 at the end, mine had a 1 at the end. And so I'm looking at this part, and I'm looking like, wait a minute, it's only one of them in the whole warehouse, according to the system. And this one is right here, and it's only one of them. But the number is so close that either I'm tripping or they tripping. I say either somebody put the wrong stuff in the system for this part, or something's wrong. So I'm just looking around. You know, I got another coworker involved. I'm asking them, what's going on? Is these the same parts? Did somebody label it wrong? Why is it like this? She's like, I don't know. So we both sitting there figuring it out, and we both had and then I kind of asked her, like, well, hey, you know, did he get hit? You know, she was like, she mentioned it actually. She said, well, he had to get one too. He had to get one too. Maybe he had to get the same part you had to get. And I was like, maybe. I'm like, well, it says it's only one left. So I'm like, but this obviously ain't it. So maybe he didn't process it in the computer yet. She was like, yeah, maybe. So I asked him, like, yeah, did you get your part? He was like, yeah. I'm like, well, did you process it already? He said, yeah. So I'm thinking, like, okay, you know, what could be the deal? So as I continue to look through, you know, trying to do my due diligence and just do my job, you know, I realized, like, hey, the girl said, the little girl's training me, she said, maybe he accidentally got your part. I'm like, yeah, maybe. Now, she been telling Jake, you know what I'm saying, that he need to start looking at the whole number, because he ain't been looking at it. And you know, I was thinking to myself, like, you know, hey, I could use some help in the department that I work in. So I'm thinking to myself, like, I help Jake out. You know what I'm saying? I just try to tell him, you know, like, hey man, you know, just try to do this and do that. I've been there a little bit, you know what I'm saying, and they digging me or whatever, you know, it's kind of working out or whatever. So I'm like, all right, maybe I can put him on the same page so we can work together and be like a, you know, almost like a team or whatever. So I'm trying to give him little pointers, like, hey bro, you know, yeah, it's our one job, and they not rushing this job right now, so you ain't got to go so fast, because I feel like he was trying to go so fast and make it look good, but he was making mistakes. He was getting the wrong parts, and we waste more time when you do that. And it's Salakia for the long lesson, I mean for the long story, but I'm giving backstory on why I'm doing this lesson in the first place, right? So, you know, like I said to myself, I'm gonna help Jake out. You know, I'm gonna try to give him some pointers so that he can, you know what I'm saying, be on the same level, you know, because they don't check me on my jobs. They just be like, go do your thing, go see if there's any jobs available, do them. For the most part. Today they gave me a job, but normally they be like, look on there and see if there's any jobs, and then I do that, and then boom, I'm on my own thing. So I'm like, he could be doing the same thing, you know. I'm trying to get him on that level. It's like there's an accident up here, so it's a little bit paying attention to that, and everybody slowing down and stuff. Are we gonna have to get over? What the hell? So anyway, so you know what I'm saying, I had told him something the other day. I was like, yeah bro, you know, whoop, spoke to him, and he kind of like I said, he wasn't being a super nigga necessarily, but he was kind of on some, you know, to each his own, you know, everybody gonna do things differently, to each his own. I'm like, the thing is, it's the way that the job has to be done. It wasn't a to each his own. It was a, if you on the level, show them that you on the level. That's really what I was telling him. Like, yeah, because the girl was complaining. She's like, he ain't really getting it, and I'm just like, all right, let me go give Jake some pointers. You know what I'm saying? Trying to help Jake out. And it's kind of like that in this truth. All right, because we have been made privy. We've been made to understand what's coming, okay, on the planet Earth. We understand that the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, is pissed, and he's about to kill a lot of motherfuckers, man. And you know, you know, the scriptures say through the terror of the Lord we persuade many. All right, we're trying to persuade you that, hey, look, if you don't get it right, the Most High is gonna fuck a lot of people up, including us, if we don't stay in this truth. Most High is about to kill a lot of people. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, we just trying to warn Jake. And what's going on? I ain't gonna worry about it. I'm just gonna keep riding, man. I mean, you know how you drive, you see some gaps, you be like, can I get up in there? Anyway, I'm just gonna keep going. So, you know, we're trying to warn Jake, all right, our people, all right, that they don't be, you know, destroyed with America, Babylon the Great. Scripture say, cry loud, spare not, lift up that voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgression. This big nigga trying to get up in here, man. Get your ass in there. Come on, motherfucker. Let's go. Be behind this big ass. So, that's what we're trying to do, man, all right? We're trying to warn the house of Israel, you know, and show my people their sins, and the house of Israel, their transgressions, man. So that's all we do. That's all we want to do. All right. But Jake don't want to hear that. You tell Jake about themselves. Hey, and this is why I said don't matter how it's packaged, you know, as I continue the story. So Salakia, like I said, a lot of stuff going on. So, Lord willing, you're able to follow along with what I'm saying, right? So, the chick is complaining about him, like, yeah, he's not really getting it, da-da-da. It's an Edomite. You know what I'm saying? There's teaching. At least I think she's an Edomite. More than likely she is. So anyway, whatever she is, she's complaining about the dude. And I'm like, all right. He told me he's worked in this type of environment before. He's been in the warehouse before. He's done this exact job, but it was at a much faster pace. And I'm eventually I said to myself, well, if you was doing good at that job, then why are you here? Like you must not have did good at that job because you at another job, and it's slower. But my thing was for you to be boasting like, oh yeah, I did this before, and be lagging behind. It's like it's not adding up, okay? Or like I said, you must not have been too good at the job, and that's why you're here. So, like I said, the first attempt to talk to him kind of fell flat, and this was days ago. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna let him do his thing, and they were still working with him. So I'm like, all right, whatever. But today, like I said, we had to put our pallets on the same thing, and I'm like, okay. And then I came down to me not having my part. See, now he looked done, all right, but in actuality, he done left out all type of shit. So he over there thinking, oh yeah, I look good, I beat him, he been here. But you done left shit off the pallet. You done got the wrong parts. You done, what I'm saying? You done not put the proper notes in the system. You done did all this stuff, and now you thinking, drinking my shit, I'm done. He ain't done, because you done rushed, but you don't even know what you're doing yet. So here I'm coming, you got Jake want to come up some other way, you know what I'm saying, and try to surpass the people that's been doing it, all right? When you gotta come up on a level first, man. And even then, if you come up on a level, you ain't gonna pass the person before you. I can't. The person who's there before me, they're over me. They're over me. This kind of ties into the whole thing that's going on right now. The brother in the camp before me, don't matter if he young, he the head of the camp. Don't matter if he younger than me or older than me. He's the head of the camp through the spirit. So he's over me. If he says I have to do something, I pray that he have mercy on me or whatever, and things like that. But that's up to the Lord ultimately. But I'm supposed to be in the order of doing it, all right? Regardless of what I think is going on. Now, as I said, there's a proper way to go about everything. If he is being wicked, then, it's a proper way. But the point I'm trying to make is, you're not going to surpass the people that came before you, okay? Now, I'm not saying it can't happen in this job situation. But you got to learn the basics. You know what I'm saying? You got to learn what you got going on up in there before you try to start, acting like. And I'm gonna finish the story, right? I'm gonna tell you what he said because he took a proud mindset. So, I come to him. I'm like, yeah, bro. It's no big deal. I mean, like I said, no matter how you package it, if a person ain't set up to receive it, they will not receive it. I came to him very nice, man. Very nice and mindful. Even before that, we got these little boxes up in there that we use. And I had kind of, you could rewrap tape around it and you do these different things so you can use it. So you can use it with your computer. And I had wrapped one up that I use on the shift. And I had just kind of, mentioned to him like, yeah, bro, hey, you kind of had took the box that I wrapped up or whatever. And he kind of almost seemed like he got offended at that, So I came back later and I was like, yeah, bro, I hope I ain't offend you or nothing like that. I just, and I offered to make him another one. I was like, yeah, he grabbed another box. I said, oh yeah, let me help you fix this one because this one ain't got no cardboard on it because they put the cardboard for the laptop so it can hold the laptop upwards or whatever. So nevertheless, man, like I said, a lot of backstory to this lesson, Salakia, okay? So I offered to help me, like, no, I'm cool, da-da-da, and I don't worry about it, da-da-da. I'm like, all right, bro, whatever you say, you rejected the assistance. I'm not going to force it on you. I'm going to just keep moving. All right? I'm going to keep moving there. So, it get to the part of me speaking. You know, I came back later and said, hey, bro, hey, I hope I ain't offend you. You know what I'm saying? I just, you know, blah, blah, whatever. He was like, nah, it's cool. You know, he was cool. I'm like, all right, cool. So I'm thinking it's cool. So we started talking about the parts. So he instantly thinking, oh, no, I couldn't have messed up. So he goes and he gets his paperwork. He opens it up. He said, no, it said I needed one. It said this, that, and the other, da-da-da. I'm like, well, you only needed one, but you grabbed mine instead of grabbing yours. You know, you just grabbed the wrong one. That's all. It's not a big deal. Just slow down. You know what I'm saying? It would be, you know, better if you slow down instead of rushing, because if you rush, then you're going to keep making the same mistakes. You need to be able to look at the whole part number and read it and make sure it's the right shit. Otherwise, we're going to go back and people going to have to deal with it later of you not getting the right parts. You know? I'm trying to help him out so he can stay there and it can go smoothly. Because ultimately, if you running the right way, then we all running the right way. You know, we can work together at that point. But if one is off, if there's a schism in the body, then we can't get along. We can't do what we need to do. If we're up here, if you in the, you know, it works like this in the truth too. If we in the camp, you know, whether you have something that you may not see at that time or believe, if we're teaching something and here you disgruntled and you coming out with other stuff, you know, during camp, you know, well, this, that, and the other, because you don't believe for contention's sake, or just because you don't believe it, you know, now we're not working together at that point. You know, there's a discrepancy now. All right. So, I mean, there will, you know, be times, I guess, where certain things might not be correct and you have to correct it. That happens. But, you know, nevertheless, here it is. There's a way that things have to be done. It's a part of the job for you to pick the right parts. But what? I'll tell you what he said. So I told him, like, yeah, bro, just, you know, slow down. So he started smiling and giggling and laughing and, you know, kind of had one of these kind of smug looks on his face, like, hey, man, I'm gonna just keep doing what I want to do, da-da-da-da-da. And I said to him, well, look, bro. And that's when I kind of had to get a little serious with him. Like, I didn't cuss him out. I didn't do none of that. I just said, well, look, bro, I mean, you're going to have to get the right parts. Like, you can't just pick whatever parts you want, because that messes people up. So you got the wrong part. Now, my part's on your palette. You know what I'm saying? What if we wasn't sharing palettes? Then I wouldn't have known to look on that palette. And you know what I'm saying? What if I wouldn't have asked nobody? Now I'm sitting up here for hours or however long it's going to take looking for my part, trying to ask the manager questions and why this ain't in the system? What's going on? It says it's there. It ain't there. It's just, you know, I'm hunting it down. Come to find out, you got it. Why? Because you didn't read it. You see? So it's just one of those things, man. It's a lucky, man. It's very long. I'm talking y'all ear off, man. It's a lucky. You know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, there's a certain way and order that things have to be done, man. And scripture say, let all things be done decently and in order, man. You know? And they have a certain way that we're supposed to do it. All right? And that dude didn't want to do it. And then when he got I'm talking about, hey, I approached him as, man, as nice, as considerate, as all of that. I thought about how he would feel about the way I said this and did that, and it didn't make a difference. It didn't make no difference, because the Lord ain't opened his understanding to receive what I was telling him, and it ended up being a waste of time. And you know what he did? He walked off the job. I told him, hey, you know, and even when he said he was leaving, I'm like, what you mean, bro? It's not that big of a deal. Like, just do, you know, just try to pick the right part. It's not even that. We can work together. It's not a big deal, bro. He was like, no, I'm done. I'm leaving. I ain't chase him down. You know, was I supposed to chase you down because you want to leave? I mean, it's like that in this truth. Like, if somebody rejects the truth. As a matter of fact, it's a perfect example of what the scriptures say. We talked about this at camp. The scriptures say, he that is an heretic after the first and second admonition, reject. All right. Now, this is, of course, not as serious as the truth is, okay, and dealing with somebody in his truth, okay, but he was being heretical, so to speak, of the understanding of what was supposed to be done on the workplace, all right, and I admonished him twice, and after that, there was nothing I could say. He had to be, that's it, he rejected himself. You see, he rejected himself. He was even bucking up before that, because the lady over us said, look, put y'all stuff on the same pallet. He said, why? When I told him, when she told me to tell him, hey, we're going to put our stuff on the same pallet, so I went and told him. And he was bucking up then. He was like, why? I'm like, because the boss said so, nigga, I don't know. That's what she said to do. Like, I get it, you want to ask questions, but honestly, was, if that's how they do things in the warehouse, then why you asking questions? I don't understand. That's not something that I would question. You know what I'm saying? That's, here it is, you new in the warehouse and you asking, why would you do that? Nigga, to save space. Maybe the job, the nigga who's taking this job today prefers it that way. I don't know. Anyway, so like this lesson's going on quite long enough, but as I said, there is a way we should package this truth. The scriptures talk about, being long-suffering, patient, apt to teach, not a brawler, different things that the scriptures say about how you're supposed to go about preaching and teaching, all right? And so these things do exist of how to, the scriptures say does not to do assuage the heat, all right? Speaking of your speech, all right? When you use certain speech, it's supposed to calm down the situation, and I've been known to be able to do that in certain instances. But, some fires, okay, are unquenchable, okay? The fire in one's mind is unquenchable if they're not a part of the elect. Then you can't put out that burning blaze of, scriptures say that their minds are seared with a hot iron. You can't quench that. You ever think about a hot iron where it sizzles? Like how they put them brands on cattle, and they put it on their flesh, and it goes, and it burns into the side of their flesh, and then they have a permanent mark there. Or you take a steak and you put it on the fire, a hot pan, and you get that crust, that sear crust, and it locks in all the juices until you're ready to eat that joint. That's how Jake mine is, man. It's seared with a hot iron. Hot. Closed off. The wound has cauterized. They actually call that cauterizing a wound. When you take a hot thing and you burn the wound and it seals up the flesh, it's called cauterizing a wound. All right? So Jake's mind is cauterized to the healing that can come from this truth, man. So that's it. I'm going to just go ahead and wrap it up with that, man. It's a long lesson. I want to give all honor, glory, and praise to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Raha Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace, blessings, and salutations to the hopefully elect. With that, I'm going to say Shalom, Wa Baba Ball, Shalom.